What a reception that was. 25 years ago, Ronnie O'Sullivan walked down those stairs and won the UK Championship right here at Preston Guildhall. A quarter of a century later, he is still going as good as ever. Back then, Ding was just about starting school. Now, though, he's a formidable opponent.
It's ahead, your choice. Ding to break. Wait for the cue, Ding, please. Wait for the cue. Okay. Okay. Ding. Yep.
Yes, we're okay. We're all set to start.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The first frame. Ding, Junhui to break.
And I'm really looking forward to it. As you heard from Alan and Stephen Hendry, both really thinking that this could be the matchup that we've been waiting for, and by some margin they've been the two best players the whole week. I know that's obvious, but it doesn't always transpire that the two best players lock horns in the final.
Too right. One thing that tells you they have been the best is that both of these have made a century break, at least 1 century, in every match that they've been involved in.
He may be a little weary after last night, but I think as soon as the match starts, that'll all be gone. It was a typically monumental task to beat Mark Selby, and I think he did very well to do it after maybe some mental scarring, having lost in the last 2 World Championships to him in long matches. Last night just felt a little bit like that, didn't it, with Selby just battling every point. Ding was up to the challenge. Really impressed by how he did it.
Yes, you made a good point about a previous World Championship. Sometimes when the juices are flowing, fatigue is not a factor. And when you play O'Sullivan in a major final, the juices, let me tell you, really do flow. Especially with Ding holding O'Sullivan in such high regard.
He didn't play it as a shot to nothing, for sure. He tried to knock it in the hold for a high value colour. This is not an easy opening red, whichever one he goes for. The one in the middle, the blue's not easy to get on with the red next to it either. Can't run it in onto the blue to the left middle very easily. But the ping will go. That will interest him.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 1.
Well, a bit surprised he missed, obviously. He's been starting matches so well.
In each of his last 2 rounds, Ding has been involved in a marathon first frame. Against Anthony McGill in the quarterfinals, it lasted 53 minutes. Last night was 48. He'd like to win this one decisively and sharpish.
Yes, he can just get through to the
Ball.
blue. No, the pink, rather. Yes, with enough angle to stun for that red. I don't think we can expect too many 40-plus minute frames in this match. I mean, you never quite know what you're going to get, but it would be rare with the players involved.
This process, when the pink spot and all of the other spots are occupied,
7.
always takes some time because the referee has to be so accurate.
Eight.
So,
King Junhui, 8.
a little bit of nerviness from both players. Now we will Ronnie play on the black along the cushion. Try and get into play. The answer is yes.
1.
But again, you'll have to force this, and we're seeing not everything down the cushion go in with any pace this week. And that's exactly what I'm saying.
Ronnie
If he was dropping that in, he'd never miss it, but just catch the first jaw. And they don't drop. Still get people telling me these pockets are big. Maybe try playing on them. You might get a different view.
I get the same, Neil. You can't convince people, but honestly, folks, they are really tight. And in comparison with club tables, I think it's the middles that are most brutal. They are cut so harshly.
One.
And that didn't even go in cleanly.
3.
These two players have a wealth of experience of playing in big finals, but it doesn't mean they don't suffer from nerves.
There are several positives on which Ding can draw. He's beaten O'Sullivan in a ranking event final before. 2006 Northern Ireland Trophy.
6.
He beat O'Sullivan in last year's World Championship in the quarterfinals. And also, he's actually got a better strike rate in converting finals into titles. For him, in ranking finals, he's won 72.2% of them. O'Sullivan, 68.8%.
11. Well,
Seems he's going to have to win this frame without the use of the black. I don't see him
70.
trying to get on it. We've seen O'Sullivan come unstuck doing that already. So he's likely to chip away at other colours. If he's playing on the pink here, it's just a question of, does the pink go on its own spot, and if so, will it be potable? Can't quite see from my commentary position. Because of course he'd like to have that at his disposal.
80.
And if of course there's a red on it, then it'll go onto the black spot, which would suit him. Well, it's okay. He didn't mean to flick the red on the way through. He just brushed into one of those. Now Greg Caniglio here just will tell us either way. Yep, that's well and truly in Ding Junhui's favour.
Of course, with the time difference, it's prime time in China, so millions will be watching this. And we can't overstate just how popular both of these two players are in the People's Republic.
It's 8. $39.
That's very nicely judged. Beautiful control.
45.
Which of course is an absolute feature of his game when he's at his best.
46.
Cue ball is on, as we said, a bit of string, not a very long bit of string either. Now this is just the start he wanted. Would have hated
52.
to have allowed O'Sullivan to start in the way that he has done in many matches this season, just swamping a player early.
Okay. 53. Junhui 53 and the frame.
The missed pink mattered not. O'Sullivan remains in his chair. First blood is drawn by Ding Junhui. Right from
Thank you, Frank,
Monday,
too.
when we were first on air, we were
Ronnie
saying that
O'Sullivan.
the Ladbrokes World Grand Prix, is an elite tournament. Well, it certainly produced an elite final. O'Sullivan against Ding. Doesn't get much better than that. Here's frame 2.
Yes, it's an elite tournament because it's the top 32 players on the season, which means that as great as this event is, and the winner will be absolutely thrilled. £100,000 Players' Championship is for the top 16 on the season, which is in North Wales in a few weeks. It was a mighty thin
Foul.
shot had he hit it at all. He
Ronnie
couldn't afford to hit
O'Sullivan,
it too thick and going off or similar. Ronnie is likely to have a dig at this long red here. I think he was very confident of the shot. Otherwise the cue ball wouldn't have been sent all the way around into bulk.
One. Junhui, 1.
Good cue ball. Tight under that ball cushion. Normally, hitting the bump of the middle pocket isn't recommended. In that instance, it wasn't too bad from O'Sullivan's perspective.
I don't think Ronnie's angled. He's quite close at left jaw. And as you can see, he's got a clear path into the reds, albeit it's never been much fun playing from the jaws of a pocket. He's actually played it very well, I think. Better shot than it looked like.
The red will no way go past the black, so from the point of view of leaving that one on, not the case. This one goes, though, if he fancies it, if he feels as though there's any value in it. That was a little clumsy from Ding.
Foul.
It was, but there's no evidence
Junhui,
right now
four.
that O'Sullivan is cueing overly well. He's missed a few what you call half chances that he's been absolutely devouring all week. It is early days, and he's not quite in the zone yet. Big target in behind the brown. I was thinking that, and one thing knowing it's there, but another thing to execute a shot as well as Junhui has done that one. I wonder if there's a way in behind the brown from over on the left here. I think that's what he's going to do. Just chip off this red left side before the middle pocket and in behind brown. I think his win against Yan Bingtao, O'Sullivan, earlier in the tournament, his safety was absolutely magnificent in that game, and he almost felt that he was just hanging on for some parts because he's playing an opponent who knocks everything in at long range, but you can't knock them in if you're not on anything. It's hard to see an attacking safety shot here. I don't know if he can get up that into that area of the table from where he is now. I don't think he can. Somewhere in where he's cueing isn't particularly threatening, but it's about all he's got, I think, on the safety shot. The double kiss stopped him going in off, but that's worse than the in off. Very subdued so far.
Yes, I think it's a slight concern, not a worry yet. He made a slow start against Maguire also in the semi-finals. But right from the moment he missed the pink off its spot in the first frame with the initial chance, ever since he's been prone to error. Of course, could spark to life at any moment, and if he does, he can win 4, 5, 6 frames in the blink of an eye. The ding will be encouraged.
One. Ding Junhui. One.
Ding, a very different player these days to the raw, uncut diamond that came onto the circuit when he won the 2005 China Open. Now he's patient, measured. And now he's in. I've noticed quite a few times, 3 times at least actually, O'Sullivan's played a shot and his chalk has fallen onto the tape, onto the carpet. I don't know whether he's having any pocket problems.
One.
Well, that's actually played very well. Played it into an area where a number of reds were potable. And he's still got a choice of probably 3 you could play.
Nine.
Oh, good news for Ding is there's no early fireworks. The sting has been taken out at the start of this match a little. And he's very much settling better than Ronnie O'Sullivan. A very slow walk round to his shot. He knows he didn't play that
16.
overly well. Very difficult red that he's looking at here, the thin one to the right corner. I don't think he can even consider going for it. I think he's got to try and get in behind the brown again. It's not a good shot.
Ding Junhui. 16.
Again, overcooked. Cue ball in and out of book.
Foul.
Well, that's a serious mistake. The
Ronnie
4
O'Sullivan,
points
4.
are not the issue. It's what he's left. It's amazing how on the way back you've got a ball in the way like the green there. And they seem very wide targets if you're struggling to play safe.
1.
Oh, that's annoying for O'Sullivan. That's very poor. What's happening here? The last thing you want to do is have to play this yellow with the rest already. Recovery shot after 1 pot.
Three.
Better, but there's pressure on this one again. That was well struck.
4.
Yes, it's an old cliche, but there's a lot of truth in it that you never really feel in any match. You've got a frame on the board, however long the match is. I think Ronnie's in that position right here.
Ten. 11. 17.
He's given Ding plenty of big occasion hurt in the past. 10-3. He won their final in the 2007 Masters, making 4 centuries, including a 1-4-3. When Ding made his debut at the Crucible in 2007, he played Ronnie in the first round. O'Sullivan beat him 10-2. And then the final of the 2014 Welsh Open. 9-3 that was to O'Sullivan, finishing off with a 1-4-7.
Yes, there aren't too many players on the tour. Not a few battle scars when it comes to playing against this man.
33. 34. 41. 42.
One other runaway with a title at stake. O'Sullivan beat Ding 7-1 in the final of the Premier League in 2011. He owned that tournament. The king of the shot clock he was.
48.
'He just jumped a little bit there. It was a minor kick which has made
49.
almost no difference to the shot. Check of the scores, so you'll see black, red and any colour will be sufficient. This was needed.
Fifty-six.
His first meaningful contribution
57.
in the match. He was left with a good chance. He immediately ran out of position on the first red. Doesn't use the rest very much. When he does, he's brilliant with it, actually. And he's not been in a lot of trouble ever since.
64. 65.
Well, the cue ball swung all around the table here. Well, he won't be too concerned. This is more like it.
71. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 71 on the front.
Ding misjudged a safety. O'Sullivan with a break of 71 ties the scores. 1-1. 2 frames
Thank you, the
played,
third frame.
they've been shared.
Ding Junhui to break.
Best of 19 frames, this 2-session final. 9 this afternoon, 10 this evening.
Foul.
Well, it was thin, but not quite as
And
thin as he
also
played it.
4.
Cue ball absolutely flew into the top left pocket. He's left Ronnie a typical cueing shot that so far in this match has not been going in. In fact, he's playing the other one to the middle. A little bit surprised he played that one, because he really had to bite into the cue ball there and get it to miss the bunch. And he missed it on the thick side as well, so it was always going to swing wider.
O'Sullivan here today could create some more history. He's never won 4 ranking titles in the same season. His best was 2004-5 when he won the Grand Prix here, funnily enough, against Preston's own Ian McCulloch in the final. Then he won the Welsh Open and Irish Masters that season, but never before 4 in one campaign. Well, there, the in-off for Ding would have been preferable.
Yes, he might have done quite a bit of damage here. I mean, everything is set. Obviously, the black, if potted, might be a little awkward, but he doesn't worry about that right now.
1. Five. Six.
Well, he's on the blue. He's kind of naturally just drifting away from the reds a touch. So he's going to get past the box colours here. That's fine.
11. 12. 70.
Well, the bottom red of the two that he's looking at would be the more attacking shot. He doesn't really have to go down that route if he doesn't want to. There's plenty of other reds scattered around in open play.
80.
I think he's probably taken the better approach here. You're not worrying about the black and the reds above it. Of course, they used to always say, well, you can't win a frame in one visit without the black being
20.
available, but it's proved to be nonsense. The skill that is involved at the top level. He might be playing on it this time. He's changed his mind once again.
24.
Just chipping away. This is the third time he's looked at this red. This time he's playing it.
30.
That's why he's such a great player.
38.
He's now got everything going for him.
13.
He was bridging slightly awkwardly.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Nevertheless, that was unexpected.
Yes, he took an extra little bit of time on that. He was down on the shot for longer than he'd usually be. Suggests there was just something about it he wasn't happy with.
One.
Couple of reds close to cushions, particularly the one that's
8.
uber awkward by the middle pocket. Helping O'Sullivan at the moment. Or at least hindering Ding. Immaterial though. And he didn't just miss that, he missed it by a distance. The red there caught the cushion rather than the jaw.
Well, once again overhitting. Cue ball drifting away from the reds.
Eight. 9.
There's quite a few mistakes being made here.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
A lot of
9.
queuing shots. Sullivan's missed blacks off the spot into each pocket this frame. Both pockets. It's never been an easy shot when you're trying to screw it with your hand on the cushion rail. But it's one you expect him to get.
One.
I wonder if he has an angle to get that safe red out, the one that Phil mentioned here. probably wasn't the shot, but it, as we were saying, is certainly going to hinder him later on. So far behind, he'll need that red. It wouldn't be an easy red to cannon out either, because he could push it beyond the middle bag. Worked out very nicely. Fine shot.
60.
Big frame this, Neil. O'Sullivan would be mortified if he lost it, having missed 2 blocks off the spot.
It's going to be fascinating to see how he tries to move that red on the right cushion.
24.
So he may have a shot on the blue, but like I say, it would be very easy to push it out and past the middle pocket. It's really tight against the rail. He couldn't play on the double or anything like that. It's going to take an immense amount of skill. Oh, it's a brilliant effort. It really is. The pace was perfect. It just was slightly ill-directed. I'll be in line with it, but it's a difficult shot. Oh, absolutely superb. Now it's really on.
Not happy. That little exchange, first getting the red out and then potting it, was absolutely top-notch.
Yes, problem you've got here is not only getting from yellow to green because you're going to cannon the brown, but he'd hate the brown to go onto a cushion in doing so. He needs it in the middle of the table somewhere.
Six.
You called it, Neil. You called it. So Ding 8 behind. That means he needs to clear to pink.
Doesn't have a great angle on this. I think he can just get round in behind the brown. Sullivan will come back to the table.
In Junhui, 39.
Well, now it's one of those frames where whoever loses it is going to feel a little sick.
fine. And with the brown not near a cushion, it's not the easiest, A, to hit, and B, to keep safe.
Foul. And a miss.
This is a real ticklish
Ronnie
one.
O'Sullivan, 4.
I mean, he may well play this, but it's not an easy one. He could always have it put back if he wanted to. It's a great decision.
4.
I can think of players who might not have done that. Didn't go back in there. As you saw, it was a tricky angle and awkward cueing.
This is frame ball.
Yes, he's kind of scrambled over the line here, which didn't seem likely when he got in first.
15. And the throw.
It wasn't spectacular by Ronnie O'Sullivan standards, but that brown was gutsy. So to the blue. O'Sullivan in front. 2 frames to 1. It is the final of the Ladbrokes World Grand Prix
Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
of 2018. Ronnie O'Sullivan, not all that convincing in the first frame. He's made a few mistakes since, but he leads 2-1 and now looking to kick on.
Yes, it's not been vintage from either player. And they're sort of almost jockeying for positions, it would seem. It'll warm up into a tremendous match, I'm sure of that. Again, the one ball in the way on the way back to bulk is the one you hit full on. Every snooker player watching this will know exactly what that feels like.
One.
He's won an awful lot in the last few years, has Ding, but he hasn't won a ranking title on British soil since the 2012 Welsh Open.
7.
6 years for him. That's a really lengthy drought.
How does he get onto his colour from here is the problem, with the black obviously completely tied up. That's a good effort actually. The bottom red is the one that he could get through to. This is a thin black. Cue ball difficult to control as well. Well, that's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
Junhui 13. Ronnie O'Sullivan 7.
Well, for a split second there, O'Sullivan was relieved he wasn't on a red. Now he wishes he had been, because the red would have been his. Okay, he's got a tough one, but by far from a certainty this. Up into that distant ball pocket if he chooses to take it on.
Yes, with not very good cueing either, because the red partly in the way of the cue ball. Very much a distraction on this shot. Played it well. He gave it every chance. By playing on the pink, didn't move the cue ball very far. So it could be an important little point of the match where Ding gets in and has bad fortune, which could take him 2 frames behind. I think when you play Ronnie O'Sullivan, you don't really need to have too much in the way of bad luck along the way.
Eight. $30. 40. $21. 22.
Thought he was okay initially.
29.
Then you could see the body language, concern, as the cue ball hit the cushion, and he was right to be concerned. Overcooked it.
Yes, Phil, his usual silky touch is not quite there today. Oh, that's a fine recovery, though. That will really make him feel better. Because if you can imagine if he had wobbled that, how frustrated he would have felt. It makes such a difference if someone like O'Sullivan very occasionally breaks down, but he can just pull out a pot. It's all about cueing.
Yeah, that red for me, the second best shot of the match. I think psychologically the brown he knocked in at the tail end of the previous frame. That was his best so far, and then that was his worst.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 35.
Well, I'm really surprised by this one. I mean, this is not difficult for O'Sullivan. I think he played it with right-hand reverse side, hoping to get the cue ball out. That's all I can think of as to why he would have missed it.
One.
Now, unlike the third frame when Ding
8.
came to the table trying to erase a substantial deficit, the balls are sitting pretty. No obvious
9.
obstacle to a clearance.
Yes, I think that red up the table will pot to the top right pocket. I'm sure it goes beyond the green and brown.
50.
Otherwise it would be difficult to get on. Because as you can see, the yellow stopping it from the top left. Apart from that, you're right, there's absolutely
60.
nothing to worry about here, except for the situation itself. The fact that we're in a final, and it would be a nice frame to win, to pinch a little bit. And that earlier bad luck would not be
22.
of any relevance.
$23. $30. $31.
Well, a little bit in between.
36.
We'll play it to the middle pocket, but again, I think you'll have to cannon into the brown here. That's beautifully played.
37.
Very slowly, but very accurately. I don't think you could argue with this scoreline if it did go 2-2 at the mid-session interval. I think it would be par.
41.
And both players can certainly play better than they have.
43.
Yes, and if it is 2-2, I think the interval will come at a good time for O'Sullivan, who will be simmering after missing that red that no one could have foreseen.
$46.
Ding 17 ahead, so this most straightforward of browns is frame ball.
$55. $61.
The table has been set for a feast of snooker as the day progresses.
68. And a frame.
At the interval,
Junhui.
it is Ding 2, O'Sullivan 2.
Sullivan than from Ding.
Thank you, frame 5. Ding Junhui to break.
Amongst those mistakes, Sullivan missed a couple of blacks off the spot in the third frame, but nevertheless won it to lead 2-1 and seemed to be heading for 3-1 until he missed a very easy ball when 30 odd in front and let Ding in to clear up with 68 and 2-all.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say in those first 4 frames, both the players almost made more mistakes than they've made for the previous week. Certainly, I think that would go for Ronnie O'Sullivan. Nice opening long pot. Junhui.
1.
I think for both players, I think if they just got in, possibly made a century break, it would just get them into the groove, as it were.
Junhui. 1.
Dean wasn't able to stop the cue ball short of the baulk line, so had to content himself with the snooker.
Ding, the red to the left of the black. Oh, Ronnie might be tempted to play this to left middle. It's a shot to nothing. A bit careless from Ding Junhui. It's there. Very, very careless. Wonderful shot. Control the cue ball, went into the pack and keeping the cue
8.
ball in the middle of the table.
I'm pretty sure that O'Sullivan didn't intend to get on the cue ball, didn't intend to get on the black that side, but he's perfectly okay as he's so good left-handed.
Got a choice of 2 reds.
60.
One to right middle, one to right corner. Well, that's a sign for me. Ronnie O'Sullivan is not that confident. He's not feeling too good in this match. Because the other red
70.
forwarded position on the black. He played the easier pot.
$90. $20.
Well, if you hadn't seen the first 4 frames, normally you would just take it for granted this is virtually frame over.
25.
When O'Sullivan's got the balls in this position.
26. $33. 34.
Got a little bit of a springy bounce of the cushion there. The
40.
cue ball didn't go on the natural path up the table after making contact with the cushion.
42.
Could we be about to see the first century break of this final? Kind of surprised there hasn't been one so far. Two of the best break builders in the game are watching here.
$49.
Ronnie just had to cut short his pace
50.
there. The referee didn't get out of the way in time.
Greg Caniglio is the referee. Refereeing his 4th world ranking final.
57. 58. 65. 66.
O'Sullivan sure of a 3-2 lead.
73. 74.
And just wants to nail down the 931st century of his career. He has said that he would like to reach the 1,000.
81. 82.
And at the present rate of progress, he certainly should. Particularly as there are so many tournaments these days.
89.
Yeah, if he keeps up the form for the rest of the season, the amount of
90.
tournaments still left, I expect him to get very close to that 100 mark.
97. 98.
He's on 57 centuries for the season, or he will be. Now that he's plotted that point.
106.
So this time, once he got in, there was no unexpected slip-up.
109. 113. 118. 124.
'With trademark fluency,
5.
O'Sullivan
Sullivan 124.
clears with
144.
144. He actually went in off the black, but of course it didn't matter. He leads by 3 frames to 2.
Thank you. Frame 6. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
Ronnie O'Sullivan breaks off, having made the first century break of this final, but it's not a good break off. Will that century break spark a barrage of big breaks in this second session?
Not like that. There's been some easy balls missed. That's probably the easiest.
One.
Momentum plays a big part in long frame matches. This could be the time where it's very much with Ronnie O'Sullivan. Could be sensing it's his, maybe a chance to open up a big lead before tonight's session.
Five. Six.
He's overrun his position. And he's
Eight.
furious with himself.
Ronnie O'Sullivan. 8.
Played the double as a shot to nothing. Wouldn't have left anything if the red hadn't gone in.
Lovely positional shot, played with screw and
8.
lots of right hand side. There's a couple of reds available to the left middle, but I think ideally we'd like a nice angle on the black to be able to go into the bunch here. That's pretty good. You could even,
9.
the 3 reds above the black, you could can on the right hand side, one of them would leave a red to the left corner, or can on the left hand side of the 3 to leave a red to the right corner. So he's got options. I don't think he'll play with pace actually into the main bunch. Just be a little cannon. Now this is going to be an aggressive shot. It's not an easy pot, it's a blind pot, which means when he
60.
lines up to the red, his eye line, the pocket won't be in his eye line. So these are missable. Position isn't automatic. As you can see, he's just pointing his cue, the path where the cue ball will be going into the red, so could cost him the frame if he misses this. And he missed it by the proverbial mile.
Ding Junhui, 16.
Very poor effort, that one.
This is a tricky shot. Had to elevate the cue to get backspin and avoid the push shot.
Eight. Nine.
Like all great players, O'Sullivan is a great predator. I think he may have sensed a sign of weakness in his opponent, with that last shot particularly.
Yeah, I think it's a big
60.
thing in all individual sports, spotting weaknesses in your opponent and pouncing.
70.
Sense a bit of unease between Ronnie O'Sullivan and the referee at the moment, Clive. Just get that feeling.
24.
Well, maybe Greg
25.
Caniglio's been a little bit slow in replacing the balls, and as we all know, O'Sullivan likes to play at a brisk pace.
32.
O'Sullivan was scathing
33.
indeed in his criticism of another referee after last season's Masters semi-final, and got into trouble with the strength of his remarks.
40. 41.
Anyway, he's proceeding pretty smoothly in this effort.
He's
48.
frustrated with his cue ball, Ronnie O'Sullivan. Okay, he's still going to win the frame in one visit.
14.
He's still making the breaks, but it's not the actual string that he normally expects.
$52.
But this is a big time in this final for Ding Junhui coming up. He has to stop this. It could
53.
get serious.
$59. 60. $67. $68.
So as expected, O'Sullivan has punished Ding's mistake by winning the frame from it.
Well, we've got a mix-up somewhere with the score, because the score that the break,
54.
score of the break that the referee is calling is not the same that's on the scoreboard.
75.
Doesn't matter. Frame's over, but someone's made a mistake at some stage.
$79.
Well, either way, there are enough balls
81.
left for O'Sullivan to complete another century.
$84. 88. $93. 99.
Centres in consecutive frames then, 131 and 106. Ronnie O'Sullivan leads Ding Junhui by 4 frames to 2.
Sorry? It's 9 this afternoon, Ronnie.
I heard Greg
Thank you,
Caniglio
frame 7.
acknowledge
Ding Junhui to break.
in the break between frames that he had miscounted towards the end of O'Sullivan's century in the last frame. It was 105 rather than 106. Although once you've made a mistake and the frame carries on, the mistake is condoned, it stands. So O'Sullivan picking up momentum.
Five. Six.
We all know how well O'Sullivan can play, how irresistibly he can play.
11.
If he gets into overdrive,
12.
as he did against Zhao Guodong in the second round here, making 4 centuries in 5 frames. Bit of a problem here in that the cannon on the red there makes the black unpottable to the left corner.
$20.
Wow.
That was magnificent. Shot of the day so far for me. Yeah, Ding's been on the wrong end of a few heavy losses from Ronnie O'Sullivan in the past in long frame matches. He knows
2-7.
what's beginning to
28.
happen. Ronnie O'Sullivan is the best front runner in the game. Again, though, just a slight irritation. He missed one of these earlier on, having to bridge over. Missed it to the left-hand jaw, which means a slight deceleration. Safely in. Didn't have to play that one with as much pace as the previous black he missed.
35.
Oh, we got a massive kick there.
36.
Massive kick.
Which is going to rob him of the chance to make a third consecutive century.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Well, at
36.
first glance, I thought it was a kick because of the reaction from the cue ball, but Ronnie's reaction seems to think it was a bad shot.
Talking of heavy defeats, Ding was beaten 10-3 by O'Sullivan in the 2007 Masters final. In fact, a combination of taking such a hammering and getting some abuse from a section of the crowd reduced Ding to tears, and O'Sullivan very nicely put an arm around him. Otherwise, I don't think Ding wanted to come out for the last frame. And that was followed by a 10-2 defeat in the World Championship at the Crucible a few months later. So it took Ding a while to actually do himself justice against O'Sullivan.
Well, this is very, very risky.
Well, some element of safety, I guess. Screwing back and getting the cue ball over the right-hand side of the table, but not much.
One.
Definitely a sign of weakness for me, that last shot from Ding Junhui. He showed last night against Mark Selby how patient he can be in finding the right safety shot.
O'Sullivan was bridging somewhat awkwardly.
Ronnie O'Sullivan. 1.
So, Ding's wild or ultra ambitious shot isn't going to cost him that much.
Well, Ding doesn't need me to tell him how important this visit to the table is in the context of this final.
1. 8.
Very poor shot.
9.
Well, he's blaming a big bounce off the cushion, but I'm afraid that was just
Yellow ball.
clumsy. He's lost the plot a bit at the moment, Ding Junhui. He needs to get his composure
Foul.
back quickly, or he could
Miss.
lose this final this afternoon.
Junhui 9. Ronnie O'Sullivan 4.
It's still comparatively early in the match. It's only 4-2. No need to panic yet. But it appears that he has.
I have to say the table looks awful at the moment. Cushions are bouncing all over the place. And that red should never been anywhere near the middle pocket.
Five. Six.
So, despite highly debatable shot choices and one very careless loss of position, Ding is still very much in this frame.
11. Twelve. 90. 20.
Now comes the more difficult part. Not good.
26. Junhui 26.
Lost position, but back up to only 6 behind. Stunning long break from O'Sullivan though.
Yeah, but again, another poor safety shot from Ding Junhui. His safety play last night was just excellent against Mark Selby. As I said, he's completely lost focus. And you're right, Clive, the long pot was just phenomenal. Cueing. Ronnie's just working out. He's going to lay a snooker here. He wants to block out the left-hand side of the table for the escape.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 1.
Don't think he has done. Yeah, good shot.
Poor shot from O'Sullivan. Didn't mean to cannon the black.
One.
It was a pretty decent opening red from Junhui, considering how he's played in this frame. And considering how probably he's feeling inside. And again, that wasn't... Just seemed to get down very quickly to play the yellow there. He had a pink into the right middle. Okay, it was a tougher shot, but at least the position would have been automatic.
Junhui, 3.
If O'Sullivan could win this frame, he would be sure of a lead of some sort going into this evening's final session. What's more, if he did make it 5-2, it would give him the impetus to take a big lead into the last session.
Chance he could get the snooker back here, O'Sullivan. Leave the cue ball behind the black. I didn't expect him to miss the yellow though.
Foul.
That's very careless.
Miss. And a 3 ball. Junhui, 4.
Which means that Ding can nominate any colour
Brown ball.
as an extra yellow.
Two. Four.
Well, this is a shot you would think. It's the last remaining difficult pot. Safely in.
7.
So a big frame this has been for Ding Junhui. He started to look very fragile mentally for the first time in this tournament, has to be said.
11.
So this is frame ball.
Sixteen.
And somehow
22. And the frame.
Ding has pulled
Ding
up to
Junhui.
only one behind. He still trails though, 4-3. Barry Hawkins is the last name on the trophy, but unfortunately didn't accrue enough ranking points this season to make an appearance here at Preston. O'Sullivan going for his 32nd world ranking title in the same great venue that he won his first, the UK Championship, a week short of his 18th birthday.
Foul and a miss.
Well, it looked
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 4.
like it was going to leave Ronnie a sitter to start. His cue ball just bounced an inch or two to make this a tricky little shot.
It was tricky, but I didn't expect O'Sullivan to play the cue ball into baulk. It wouldn't have been properly on a colour even if he'd potted it. Although, of course, if he had potted it, it would have been a slightly thicker contact.
I actually think both players have been affected by the way the table's reacting at the moment, Clive. The cushions, especially this black cushion, is almost becoming unplayable, even to players as skillful as this. Good long red from Ding. And from a friendly angle on the yellow.
3.
Another slack positional shot. You want an angle in the blue to come down for a red further down the table. He's got a red to the right of the pink. And this is tough now. This needs very good cueing. I don't know if the pink's available to the left middle. Should just play a stun on the red. Well, he's got a plant. That makes things a lot easier. That makes things a lot easier.
10.
Red going over the corner pocket is more or less forced Ding into
Blue
taking this blue on. He wouldn't be playing this otherwise. Oh, brilliant. It's an even better shot because his state of mind couldn't have been ideal.
15. $60. $21.
Oh, well onto the near
Junhui,
draw.
21.
Again, frustration. It was a tricky shot to take on. Knew he was leaving this red. It was an aggressive shot.
One.
Queuing impeded for his preferred ball, the blue.
Five. 6. $11. $12.
Nice little shot. Stun for the pink. And a chance to bring some more reds into play. It's not worked out. I think we'll get Ronnie's reaction.
18.
Very frustrated with the outcome of that shot. And that was
Right,
another
also
symptom of
8.
his frustration. I think in a better mood he would have played a safety into baulk. So O'Sullivan's inability to contain his frustration has led to Ding getting in.
8.
It's like a battle of the tempers at the moment, Clive, isn't it? who can keep hold of the temper the most?
9.
Both players showing anger and frustration. Wow, he's walking around the table. I don't know. He's on this
60.
red of sorts to the left corner. I can't see. Well, see how he's even going to get to it. And even if he can, what position is he going to get?
That was an incredibly tough spider shot.
16.
He was within a roll of pulling it off.
One.
If he had managed to pop the red, he would probably have gone on to take the frame. As it is, O'Sullivan is now favourite to go 5-3 up, even though he's still a few points behind.
Eight. 9. $60. 70. 22. 23. 29.
Not 100% satisfied with his last positional shot.
Third.
So having
35.
to negotiate in and out of bulk. Wouldn't expect it to be a problem in between green and brown twice.
36.
So it looks like, as you said, Clive, Ronnie O'Sullivan is the one that's going to be guaranteed
39.
a lead going into the second session. One more frame to play this afternoon.
41.
Either going to be 5-3 or 6-3 ahead.
Well, nobody likes spiders, and Ding particularly in this context, because a particularly nasty spider shot has cost him this frame.
Sorry, I made an error there. Either
44.
5-4 or 6-3 ahead. Guaranteed for O'Sullivan now.
48. 53. 59.
Ding missed a particularly tricky shot with the spider. O'Sullivan cleared with 59 to the pink and has extended his lead to 5-3. What? Yeah. I thought about it done a Michael Holt.
Thank you. The final frame of this session. Ding Junhui to break.
So this is the frame that defines the afternoon's work for these players. At its conclusion, O'Sullivan will be either 6-3 up or only 5-4. Forced into a safety error.
One. Eight. Nine.
I think this was a, or it still is obviously, a long way to go in this frame, but I think it's
14.
obviously far more important for Ding Junhui to win than Ronnie O'Sullivan.
50.
Ronnie was to have a 6-3 lead going into tonight. It's not very often you see him give up those leads. Fantastic front runner. But it's not been the classic that I expected so far.
No, there have been some good things. O'Sullivan's back-to-back centuries, 131 and 105. But also some very surprising errors and quite a few flashes of irritation from both players, either with springy bounces or their own shortcomings.
$29. C4. 35.
I think one thing that O'Sullivan has become better at with age
40.
is overcoming frustration. When he was quite a bit younger, sometimes used to destroy his performance. Giving vent to his
41.
frustration just made him worse. Much more disciplined these days.
$48. 49. $56. 57. 64. 65.
Well, you wouldn't bet against Ronnie making his third century of this first session. It's the 3-frame
72.
gappage opened up going into tonight's
73.
session.
$80. 81.
Yeah, we've talked about it not being a classic, and people might say, well, look, Ronnie Sullivan, you know, he's made 3 centuries, but this stuff around the black, it's really, this is bread and butter stuff to Ronnie Sullivan.
$88.
But he's giving his opponent a lot to think
89.
about going into tonight's session. Junhui's got to come out tonight and win, you would think, 3 of the first 4 frames to have any chance.
94. 95.
O'Sullivan's third century
100.
of the afternoon, in a session in which he's had
101.
several off-key moments, but has nevertheless built up a very useful advantage for this evening.
106. 108. 111. 115. 120.
Well, I'm sure he could have made a total clearance if he concentrated, but the break of 120 nevertheless gives him a 6-3 lead going into this evening's final session.